Shalom, welcome everyone, and a very meaningful Ta'anit Esther. Today is also known as the Fast of Esther, since tonight is Purim. And thank you so much for joining us for our daily learning in the book of Mishlei, Proverbs, written by King Solomon himself, who was known as the wisest of all. So this is Mishlei chapter 23, and we are up to verse 17. So, verse 17, there's this question of theodicy, meaning why is it that sometimes bad people have really good lives and some very good people have really terrible lives? Why is that? And that question sometimes leads people to the conclusion that they might as well do bad things, because if bad people have a really enjoyable life, if bad people become rich and wealthy and famous and enjoy themselves, so maybe doing good is not for us. That's what some people may think. It's sort of a jealousy, and it's common especially among young people. They think, oh, if I'm going to do this wrong thing and that wrong thing, I will probably have a very good life. So King Solomon warns, and he says, verse 17, chapter 23, verse 17, do not be jealous of sinners. Rather, you should engage in the fear of God all day and not sin and not be jealous of sinners. Why? Because if you are righteous, then you are playing for the long game. The long game being, you'll have a good life, have reward, but that is in the long game. Righteous people have the world to come, and even often in this world, righteous people are the ones who have the more stable and rewarding, meaningful lives. Next, verse 19, listen to me, my son, and if you listen to me and you increase your wisdom, you will not be led astray. And now, they used to say in the Middle Ages, gluttony is the source of all sins. Meaning, gluttony is the desire to eat really incredible foods and spend a lot of money on that. Do not be among those who guzzle wine. It's a very strong word. Don't be among those who really consume expensive meats. So don't be a person who's consuming wine and meat all the time. Because the person who's constantly eating expensive foods, going out to restaurants, leading a life of luxury, then that person is going to become impoverished. A person who is always eating is going to become impoverished. You often read these terrifying studies about someone, the number of people in America that have saved up money, and it's terrifying. And then you see people who have no money. When they do get some money, they spend it. Don't be among those people. People who spend all their money are going to be impoverished, King Solomon says. If you're constantly leading a life of luxury and you get used to a high standard, you're not going to be in a good place. And if you engage in sleep all the time, then all you'll have is tatters. So whether it's you spending a lot of money or sleeping too much, that's going to lead to poverty. The next is a very beautiful and meaningful verse. Listen to your father, because your father is the one who has given birth to you. And do not have contempt when your mother is old. Sometimes a mother becomes old, the kids are, I see people joining. Hello, welcome. Some people see their parents become old and they lose respect. So what King Solomon says is no. Do not disrespect your mother just because she got a bit older. Next is verse 23. when it comes to truth and wisdom, pay money. Be willing to get an education. Be willing to invest in it, but do not sell it. Meaning, if someone asks you for wisdom, don't say, "Oh, I'll only teach you if you'll pay me money." Emet kneh ve'al timkor. Buy wisdom, but do not sell it. It's not right to sell it. When you see wisdom, pay for it, value it, and give money for it, but do not sell it. Emet kneh ve'al timkor, chokhmah u'misar binah. And you will have wisdom and insight and instruction. Gil Yagil Avi Tzadik, the father of the righteous one, is going to be very happy. Father of the righteous one is going to be very happy. Someone who raises a smart child is going to be very happy about that. It's something you'll take great joy and pride in. Then he says, Yismach avicha beinecha. If you are wise, then that's something that's going to give happiness to your father and your mother. King Solomon continues. We're in Proverbs chapter 23, verse 25. Yismach avicha veimecha v'tagel yoledetecha. The woman who gave birth to you is going to be very happy if you act with wisdom, if you acquire wisdom. And now he continues, Tana b'ni libchali. My son, give me your heart. Because if you give someone your heart, that is the most meaningful thing. You can hear a lecture about this, you can hear a lecture about that, but what teaching stays with you? It's the teaching that has your heart. It's when there's a teacher that really appreciates you, a teacher that really you has your heart, then that's a way that you're going to follow. So King Solomon says, please give your heart to me, and your eyes should follow the path I am instructing you on. And now he's warning of the young man of seduction and falling into sin. We're in chapter 23, verse 27. Because sin is like a deep pit. Once you fall into it, it's devastating. It's like there's a lot of writing and discussion of addiction, where people sort of lose control of themselves. They have no control of themselves. And that's what sin does. It makes you lose control. It's like a pit. It drags you down. First it looks good, and then boom, you find by the time you figure out where you are, you're already too deep into it, and it's really hard to climb out. And King Solomon says it's like a narrow well. If you ever look down a well, some wells are sort of almost like a chimney, where it's, you can just get the bucket or one person through. And some are really widely open. King Solomon says sin is like a narrow well. Once you go down, it's very hard to climb back out. Sin causes you to suddenly lose control, and it brings you into a treacherous situation. The next is a condemnation of alcoholism. Lemi oy, lemi avoy. King Solomon says, you ever hear the term oy? It's a very Jewish term. So oy comes here. It's actually written in the book of Mishlei as in woe. Lemi oy, lemi avoy. Who has woes? Who has trouble? Who has pain? Lemi midyanim. Who has conflict and fights? Lemi siach. Who has rancor and unnecessary rambunctiousness? Lemi ptsaim chinam. Who has injuries? Lemi chachlilut einayim. Who has eyes that are sort of blurry and not proper. And King Solomon says, people who stay late up at night and drink wine. So remember, alcohol has its uses. We use it here and there, but overall, it can cause tremendous destruction. And so King Solomon warns you, stay away from wine. It causes those who stay up late at night to those who stay up late drinking wine lose everything and get into terrible trouble. And then he says, Al terei yain ki adam ki ten bakos eino. Do not look at wine that is red. And the rabbis learned from this that red wine is actually the best wine. So if someone sees wine, don't be like, oh, this is a delicious wine. It has this beautiful red look. Don't fall for it. Don't go in that direction. The person sees the wine, he puts his eyes on the cup, he gets determined to drink it. and he walks straight into anything that's asked from him. If someone drinks alcohol, Rashi says, anything, they'll do anything. They're like, oh, what a good idea. Driving on the highway while I'm drunk? Sure. That's what people do when they get intoxicated. They just lose judgment. But what's going to happen to the person who loses judgment and thinks that everything is okay with wine? It is like a snake. A snake bites a person. All the person feels is a little poke when a snake bites you. It's like, boom, you have a poke. What you get later, thank you, what you get later is that's when the poison saps in. Same as with alcoholism. You drink a little here, you drink a little there, but eventually, boom, it really hits you. And so King Solomon says, alcohol, drinking too much wine, it's going to bite you like a snake. It's like a serpent that extracts its venom. Your system, and it gets you later on. Suddenly, this is like such a beautiful metaphor. Suddenly, you'll find yourself like you're laying in the middle of the ocean, and that's true both, in the metaphor, but also because someone drunk feels like they're going up and down, and the world is spinning around them. And you'll feel like the sailor. You ever see in the movies a sailor slammed to the floor because the storm is so strong? It's like everything, the waves are going up and down, and boom, the sailor finds himself on the floor. That's what happens to the person who drinks too much. So, but that's also a metaphor. Not only will you find yourself slammed to the floor physically, but metaphorically, your life is going to fall apart if you become an alcoholic. You'll be like the person who's laying on the deck of the ship. One more verse. When you wake up, when someone is drunk and they get injured and beaten, they don't attend to their wounds because they don't feel their pain, which is, by the way, very dangerous. They don't know what they're getting into. They don't feel, they can have black and blues, they can break a bone. They don't feel it. They hit me and I did not become sick. Halamuni, they struck me and it didn't come to my knowledge. When will I wake up? And then when the person wakes up, that's when he seeks everything that he lost, and that sort of is then already too late. I would like to take this opportunity to really thank everyone for tuning in. We'll continue on Sunday, God willing, and really I hope everyone enjoys their Purim, their weekend, and I very much appreciate you being here, your feedback, your comments, and Be'ezrat Hashem will continue chapter 24 on Monday. Wishing everyone a very happy Purim. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope everyone enjoys their weekend. Be'ezrat Hashem, it should be a good weekend.